Okay.
Tell everybody your name and a little bit about yourself.
My name is Paris Chapman.
Okay, so why are we here to tell you?
Well, the month of October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I have been through breast cancer. Attempted the reconstruction process, but it did not work for me, and so we're here to talk about everything that I've been through and how I am overcoming. When I was first diagnosed, it's kind of like in December of 2018, I was actually sick. I had bronchitis, and so I went to my regular doctor. We did what we had to do for the bronchitis, and then my job where I work, we have Mercy's mammogram bus comes to our campus, and we can have our annual mammograms done. And so that was something that I had been getting done faithfully ever since the mammogram bus started coming. So in February of 2019, I had my mammogram, which I encourage all women to do. Early detection is key. And in March of 2019, like I said, I had bronchitis, and there was this cough that I just could not get rid of. And so in March of 2019, after my mammogram, I went back to my doctor to discuss the cough that I couldn't get rid of. And so, of course, he gave me some medication for that. And he asked me, he said, "Are you feeling okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I feel fine." He said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "You know, you were just here in December."
Because
I went back to the doctor because I couldn't get rid of the cough, and it was getting worse. And so he asked me if I was okay, and I told him I felt fine. And he said, "You were just here in December." I said, "Yeah." He said, "You've lost 35 pounds. And I was like, "What?" He was like, "You haven't noticed like your clothes getting too big?" I was like, "No, but anybody who knows me knows I always wear my clothes too big." So I did notice that. And he said, "No." He said, "You've lost, that's too much too soon." He said, "I'm gonna get some blood work. I'm gonna start a battery of tests just to make sure everything is all right." Literally a week after that appointment, I got the phone call from my doctor saying, "You know, something showed up on your mammogram. We need you to come in because we'd like to do a biopsy." I said, "Okay." So I went, scheduled that appointment. I went and had my first biopsy. And if no one is familiar with what a biopsy is, they basically just take a piece of tissue out to study and test to see what's there or maybe what isn't there. So they did that, and literally as I'm laying on the table after they had taken their sample, I hear, and I'm laying face down, and I hear, and I'm laying down, and I turn to look at the technician, and she's standing there, and she's rolling something in her fingers like this, and she's like, "Oh yeah, this is cancer." And I'm like, "You do know I'm laying here, I can hear you, right?" And so she said, "This is cancer." And so about a couple of days later, I get the call from the breast surgeon saying, "You definitely have cancer. It's confirmed." The good news is, she said, "The good news is it's at stage 0. I said, "Oh, stage 0. I don't have cancer." She said, "No, you've got cancer, but it's stage 0. And she said, she went on to explain that this is the stage where we wish we could catch all breast cancer because at this stage it's curable. My options were they can take out the cancer, which the cancer was only on one side, and they could take out the cancer, and that's that. And with doing that, I would have to get a mammogram every 3 months, and then I would have to either undergo radiation or chemotherapy, and I did not want to do either of those. I said, so what else is there? And then she said, if you don't want to do that, there is the mastectomy, and we can remove the one that has the cancer, but again, you'd have to go through that for the other one if you don't remove them both. I said, take them both off. And that was that. And so that was in March of 2019, and I decided to go with the double mastectomy with the possibility or the intention to reconstruct. And my body just rejected that process. So 4 surgeries later, I decided, forget it. I don't want to put my body through anything else. And so by that time, my primary care doctor had been notified, and his blood work showed something abnormal, but he had planned to send me to a breast surgeon just in case it was some sort of cancer. And he said, it's not surprising that you've lost all that weight in so much short period of time, because your body was brewing and developing those cancerous cells, and it was basically eating away at you. So that was that. And I decided to just let go of the thought of reconstruction, and here I am today. Yeah, so my 50th birthday was coming up, and I just wanted a celebration. I'd never given myself or had a birthday party for myself. My family were very helpful and instrumental in making that a beautiful, beautiful night. And I had my makeup done, and I just felt like I looked really pretty. And the one thing that bothered me was that I wondered if anybody would notice I only had one side, because the other one had not been removed at that point. And then after my birthday in August, I believe it was in September, to Arizona. And I'll never forget, we got to our hotel room and we checked in, and I was like, does this look red to you? And it felt really warm. And I think the one thing that saved me was that it was like 105 degrees or 108 degrees when we landed in Arizona. And we stayed in the pool the whole time. And that cool water, I think, really calmed it down, because by the time we finally got home, I think the next week or maybe 2 weeks, I was back in surgery to get the other side removed, because it had been inflamed, got infected, and it just had to go. And each surgery that I had literally was an emergency surgery, and it was just part of my body saying no. And so I just listened to my body at that point. I was like, let it go, let it go. Well, first of all, I am cancer-free because it was caught so early by having the mastectomy. That basically was my cure. It removed all the cancer and the potential cancer that could have developed had I let the one side stay. So I am cancer-free, and so I felt really good about that, but then reality sunk in, and it kind of hit me hard. It hit me really hard, because it's like, one thing as a woman that absolutely identifies you as a woman is your breast, and there's no mistaking that's a woman when you see someone and they have that, oh, she's pretty, or that's a woman. And I no longer have that, so no, I did attend therapy. I do have a therapist talking about those emotions and just feeling less than, feeling like I'm not a whole woman anymore, and feeling like I'm no longer attractive. I'm not going to be able to have a spouse or a partner or anything like that. So I went through all of that. I wasn't expecting that. Oh my. It has been a huge, huge part of my journey. I remember a sermon or a series of sermons that Pastor Miah had on prayer and how important it is and how you have to pray, and prayer strengthens you, and it, brings you closer to God. And I remember thinking, I don't know how to pray. One thing that stuck out in our conversations is that you just taught that. I just tried to hold on to that and make sure that, when I wake up every morning, I'm thankful. When I go to sleep at night, I'm thankful. When things happen on a positive note, I am so thankful. I'm so grateful because it didn't have to be, or it could have been, and I wasn't here to enjoy it. So my outlook has changed, and I don't know. I don't know. It has really grown. It really has. And I remember Uncle Bug, I'll never forget that day when he was preaching and he was coming down that aisle, and I could have swore he was looking at me, and I think he was looking at me, but then there was a woman sitting in front of me who had braids, and she had them wrapped real high up on her head, and I remember sinking down trying to get behind her head because I figured if I couldn't see him, he couldn't see me. And he was coming down the aisle, and I'm like, oh, what is he talking about? What is he going to say? What is he going to do? And he looked at you and said, go get her this time. I will never forget that. And I think about that often, and through everything that I've been through, I think about that. And there's just certain things, sometimes when people go to church or study the Bible, read the Bible, they don't really know that it has affected them until you're going through something and your recall is there. Oh, for those that don't know who Uncle Bug is, that is Bishop White, George White Jr. And he's our uncle, Uncle Bug. That's what he is. First and foremost, I really want to stress how important it is to have your mammograms, to get tested. If you don't have a good doctor, find someone, or someone someone that's close, that will recommend a good doctor to you. That is so, so, so very important. And just know that no matter what you've been through, no matter what you're going through, God is there to guide all of us, and He will guide you through it. I mean, you may not know exactly what it is you're feeling, and that's fine. That's totally fine. You don't have to understand all of your feelings all at once. They're not going to come to you all at once. But you just deal with them as you come to them, as they come to you, the best way that you can. For me, I did get therapy. I did a lot of praying. I asked God so many times to help me understand what I'm feeling, because I don't understand this. I don't get it. I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to feel less than, because I'm not. And for any woman who's ever gone through that, you are not less than. You are beautiful just the way you are. And every scar that we have says that we are beautiful, and we are beautiful. And Maya Angelou has a poem about scars, and the one thing that she says is that they are a sign of healing. I embrace my healing like you don't know. And so I want to thank you all for listening to my story on breast cancer. And I hear all the time from my family, from a lot of my friends, that I am a walking testimony. The breast cancer was just the beginning of a series of things that happened to me from 2019 up until today. There's more.